Night live show. What a weekend it's been in the Premier League. We can't complain as Manchester United fans. We got away with it against Watford yesterday, but Liverpool and Chelsea also getting away with it as well. And now 6th place to 3rd place is separated by just 1 point. It's going to be tense, and that's why yesterday was so important to beat Watford. So important indeed, because if we'd not got that result, I think we would have been very, very depressed this Sunday night. But lots to talk about tonight as well. Herrera's contract offer, which he looks like rejecting, where the one position I think we really need to desperately improve, and it's not one we've mentioned before. Also, we'll be talking about the potential issue with Jose Mourinho and whatever signings we want to have in the summer. And also, let's start off with this line then. So Manchester United linked to shock transfer return. It's not Memphis Depay. Some of you will have figured it out that it's Wilfried Zaha. Very interesting story. To be honest with you, wasn't even going to touch on it, but then read it after the Liverpool game this evening just to see what it was all about. And actually, you know what? I thought, well, I know for a fact there's a lot of United stand members who like Zaha. There's a lot of times we've said, would you have Zaha or Depay back? Well, this story is about Manchester United potentially bringing Wilfried Zaha back to Manchester United. So who's Wilfried Zaha? Well, he's a lad in his mid-20s. He came to Manchester United from Palace. He failed. He went back to Crystal Palace and he's shown that same potential again. And when I say failed, I don't think it was necessarily his fault. It just didn't work out. He was actually Sir Alex Ferguson's last signing. He bought him in the January to come in the summer. Sir Alex Ferguson retired. Moyes never took to him. He went back to Crystal Palace and he's done very, very well there. Right-footed. Can play up front, can play off the right-hand side, so he'd do a job for us. But why are Manchester United linked to him? Because if you've listened to me in the past, I've firmly said there's no way Zaha's going to come back. If you listen to his comments about his time at Manchester United, he's actually rather negative about it and didn't like it here, and I don't think he would be fond of coming back. And I still stand by that. I think that would be a very, very big stumbling block. However, we've got a different manager now, a different regime, and if he was treated well, maybe he would like another shot at it. Why are Manchester United linked to him? Well, they're linked to him because we don't have a buyback clause. There's a few people saying in the live comments we've got a buyback clause. We don't have a buyback clause, but what we apparently do have is that any sale of Wilfried Zaha, Manchester United will get 25% of it. So basically, if he's worth 70 million quid, and that's what it's going to cost, say, Spurs or Liverpool to buy him, it's going to cost them 70 million quid. We would automatically get just under 20 million quid from that. So we could sign him for 70 million and get 20 million back. So effectively, you get Wilfried Zaha for 50 million quid, which is, a relatively cheap, isn't it? So however you look at it, if that is true, that we get 25% of any sale of Wilfried Zaha, then we could buy him back at a cut price, or if he goes somewhere else, we'll get a bit of money back as well. So that's how it works. For me, it's a no. I don't know what you lot think. For me, I wouldn't take Wilfried Zaha back to Manchester United. I think he's a good player. I think he's a Spurs player. I don't think he's a Man City, Liverpool player, and I think that is what I've been rather consistent about. I was talking about it in the January transfer window. I think Manchester United need to sign players who Man City would want, who Liverpool would want. I hate to say that, but they're definitely in the title race, as we saw earlier on. And I don't think Wilfried Zaha is the quality of player that we need. I think when we did buy him, if we developed him, he could have been the sort of player we needed. But he's mid-20s now. What more development is there? So for me, it would be a no. I also must just say I can bring Memphis Depay into here and anybody else you want to bring back. The only player I would ever bring back at the moment is Ronaldo. I still would take him back, but I think but that's because he's one of the best players ever. Do I want Zaha back? No. Do I want Memphis back? No. I personally, my feeling is that we need to turn a page and we need to go forward and not risk going backwards. I think go forward. You talk about Zaha, you talk about Memphis Depay. Well, I think Sancho's a better option. I think Lozano's a better option. They've never played for us before, and I think they're better signings. So that's where I would stand on that. Zaha, Memphis Depay would be a no from me. I think we should be looking at better and going forward. But he's a good player, Zaha, but it's interesting. I'm interested if that 25% thing is true anyway. So hopefully he'll go to Spurs for 70 million and we'll get 20 million of it. So there you go. No to Zaha, says Rogue Punisher. Forget about Zaha, says Bismarck O2U. Don't forget Zlatan, Mark, says Smut Beers. And I wouldn't want him back. And look at the players you want back, says Michael DeVale, and he's put a clown face, don't know what that means. And we're living the past too much, says Linksman. Exactly, I think we need to look forward. I think it's going to be Lozano, says Baz 1, and Moise Keane is better, says Tiardo Breck. Nice to see a few United Stand members in the live comments. If you don't know what a member is, it's the people whose name is green with the little badge next to them, and they can use the exclusive emojis as well. You can join up very easily. There's a join button underneath, or you can go through the link in the video description, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Why 1 hour earlier? I was waiting for that from Amdi Khalid. Why 1 hour earlier? We're not 1 hour early. It's just in the UK, the clocks have gone forward. So for some people in the world, we will be 1 hour early. But in the UK, it is actually 8 o'clock at night. The clocks have gone forward for daylight saving hours. Rocker the DJ says, why bought Sanchez, who City wanted, and look. Exactly. We don't want another player like that. Let me just talk about... So, yeah, it would be a no from me, Zaha. But it's interesting. If that 25%... it's not a buyback clause. We haven't got first refusal. It's just we get 25% of any sale, which basically, if we bought him, would be a 25% off, wouldn't it? So if he went for 100 million, which he isn't, we'd get him for 75 because we'd get 25 million of the deal. Anyway, let's talk about Ander Herrera. There's a little bit going on about Ander Herrera that I wanted to bring in. And I'm not going to talk about Pogba on this show because I've done the video at lunchtime about Paul Pogba. Hopefully everybody's watched that. I've had my say on that, the Goldbridge rant. That might become a weekly thing on a Sunday. But... Herrera is also it's almost a secondary rant. I mean, it's come from the Daily Mirror. This is where I've read it. And apparently Manchester United are willing to pay Ander Herrera £170,000 a week, but he wants £200,000 a week because that's what PSG are going to get him. And hence you see the influx of comments on social media from people saying, piss off Herrera, money grabber, oh, he loves the club so much, but actually wants 200k. And I think, whoa. It's a bit like what I said about Pogba. Retract. Take your rod out of the river and think about what you're doing, first of all. And welcome Juzzo Salo. He is our newest member. Actually, if you become a member while we're live, it goes up on the live comments like that. So well done, Juzzo Salo. But in relation to Herrera, what is everybody's problem here? I wouldn't believe what you read in the Mirror. These are the people who said that Anthony Martial was a waste of time when we bought him. So I wouldn't believe that. And two, if Ander Herrera has been offered £200,000 a week by PSG and United are only offering him 170, what's the problem with him taking the £200,000 a week? I said this the other day. I don't think people understand it. They're muddying the waters and they're muddying their brains with this talk of love for the club, loyalty. Where's the club's loyalty to Ander Herrera for the last 2 years when his contract's been running down? Where's the club been when Ander Herrera's been trying to get a new contract? Door shut. Now, because they've let the contract run down and we brought a new manager in and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has used Ander Herrera, unlike Mourinho, and we've seen the best of Ander Herrera, it's backfired on United because suddenly they're like, shit, he's out of contract. Bloody hell, get him on a new contract. And he's like, well, I've got PSG knocking on my door offering me 200 grand a week. Are you going to give me 200 grand a week? No, but we want you to sign for less money because you love the club. Up yours. What a stupid mentality that is. So I'm going to defend Ander Herrera on this. Why a United fan feels it's fitting to say, oh, where's Ander Herrera's loyalty to the club? He wants 200 grand a week. I tell you who you should blame for that, the club. It's not Ander Herrera's fault. If you go into work tomorrow and your rival company rings up and say we want to double your wages, you go to your current boss when you love your job. You go to your current boss and you say, Are you gonna pay me them wages? No, but you know how much you love your job here. We're gonna pay you 3/3 of that. Can you? 3/3 would be the full thing. We're gonna pay you 3/4 of that. I'm off, mate. Are you gonna pay me that money or not? Well, no, we don't want to. Piss off. I'm off. And so I don't get where people are getting off, sort of saying that Ander Herrera is not being loyal to the club. His contract has run down. It's our fault as a football club. We've let it run down. He's not being a mercenary. His contract he's been treated badly. His contract has run down. We've let it run down. He is a free agent. He can speak to who he wants. If we don't pay him the wage and he can get it better elsewhere, I'm sorry, that's United's fault. That's their fault for letting it run down. But I totally disagree with these people saying, oh, I thought Herrera loved the club. I thought Herrera was United through and through. No, he does love the club and he's shown that on the pitch. But the club have treated him badly and he is now in a very strong position. And we either cough up or not. Is Ander Herrera worth £200,000 a week? Bollocks, is he? Nowhere near worth that. But I tell you what, he is worth it because that's what somebody else is willing to pay for him because we let his contract run down. It's a bad situation. It's sad. It's Elton John. It's sad. So sad. It's a sad situation. And it's getting more and more absurd. That's the situation with Ander Herrera, folks. And it's brought on ourselves. Thanks, Elton John. Gin. It's gin o'clock. Anyway, that's my thoughts on Ander Herrera. What if Ollie doesn't fancy him, says Jezime. Well, he obviously does fancy him because he's picking him. Give Sanchez a new contract, says Chef. He's already on a very, very, very big contract. Vandy Candy says he's almost 30, let him go. I mean, that's a different option. That's a different argument. I'm not going to argue with that, Vandy. That's a well-structured argument. He is coming up for 30. Let him go if you want. I still think he's well worth getting it. We shouldn't have let the contract run down. David De Gea, money through and through, says Marky. Ander out, says Lumen. And a few people are crying because of the shit singing from me. Oh, well. And George Kyle says it's mental how high our wage structure is. Which is very, very, very true. Woodward has been the problem with the contract, says Michael Jones. And Mark, don't give up the day job, says Kathy. It was a terrible song, Kathy. But I was being ironic, and I think that's always important. Let's talk about the right back situation. Now, I heard Martin Keown in Match of the Day yesterday. Normally, when I don't know about you lot, I watch Match of the Day. I'll put the audio on when the football's on, and then when they go to the pundits, I'll mute it and just go on my phone till the next game comes on. But I accidentally couldn't find the remote controller yesterday, so I'm on my phone, and Keown starts talking about United and says the one position they need to really improve on is right back. And I thought, actually, that's the first bit of sense I've heard on Match of the Day for a long, long, long time. I do agree with it now. I said this yesterday. The game yesterday, like Luke Shaw's bombing up and down the left-hand side, putting crosses in. But Chloe Jenkins says Ander Herrera's wife is French. Oui. Voulez-vous? Je m'appelle Goldbridge. But, I mean, that might be a factor. But the right back situation is becoming more and more absurd. It's sad. I won't do it again. So sad. It's a sad. No, I'm not going to do it anymore. But Ashley Young is a former winger playing as a crap right back, but not doing the thing going forward. The great thing about Ashley Young at right back was he's not a very good defensive right back, but actually going forward, he can beat a man and put a cross in. But he's not even doing that anymore. All Ashley Young's good for is the armband round his arm, and he shouldn't have it. But he's offering nothing. I can't remember the last assist he provided, and it's a waste. And why we're not playing Delo in that position? Maybe Solskjaer doesn't fancy Delo, which means we're going to have to go into the transfer market. And a lot of people will talk about Cancelo at Juventus. He's only been there a year. That won't happen. Meunier at PSG is an option, and I think that could happen. Wan-Bissaka's the one everybody wants. But the player I really liked when I saw us play Young Boys was Kevin Mbabu, the right back. He looked really, really good. And I don't know whether he's the sort of high-profile signing that everyone gets excited about. But I thought, you know what? He plays for Young Boys in the Swiss League. You'd probably get him for under £20 million. He's 23. And I think he's really, really good. I think he's really, really good. And I think he would be a good signing for United. I don't think he'll be on the list, but I really did like him. And I think sometimes, those sort of signings can be very, very clever for Manchester United. Jonah Jones says, Mark, does it ever work out when players return? I'd say Pogba's return has been okay. Delo is only impacted when coming on as a sub, says Gulo. Remember, Delo's only 19 as well. There's a lot of development in him, and maybe that's the problem. Mbabu is absolutely sick, says Sawad Numanovic. He's very quick, says Phil MUFC. I like the look of him. We're not linked to him at all, but he is one of the players. When you go through a season and you go, every now and again when you play teams and you go, he really impressed me. Like Ben Chilwell, both games against Leicester really impressed me, but we've got Luke Shaw, so I wouldn't swap Shaw for Chilwell. But he did, Mbappe or whatever his name is, Kevin. Let's just call him Kev. He really impressed me this season as a right back, and he's the one that really has stood out all season to me. I would like him, I would. Newcastle reject, says Jazim. He was at Newcastle, but you know what? that can happen. That can happen. Franco Riva says Woodward needs to sit with Pogba and David De Gea saying, well, lads, we're going to rebuild the team around you as highest earners at £400,000 a week and we're going to go for the title. It's all about the money, isn't it? Wan-Bissaka is needed, says Xavier Daniels, and Delo is the future, but needs patience and time to get better, says Baz1. I think that's the thing, Delo, isn't it? I don't think he's actually quite ready yet. Wilfried Zaha is the player we're talking about returning, Jack. Apparently United don't have a buyback clause, but they have a 25%. United would get 25% of any sale, which basically, if we bought him, would be a 25% reduction. So we could get him on the cheap, or cheaper. I would say that Wilfried Zaha is probably worth 60 million. So if we wanted to buy him, we'd get him for 45 with the 25% coming to us. So it's not massive, but it'll do. Liam Grogan's right. We've hit 410,000 subscribers, which is great. So make sure that you do subscribe to the channel if you're new, bottom right-hand corner. And Intane says, any transfer news about Sancho, Mark? And I noticed you because you used the Mark Goldbridge emoji 7 times. 8 times, actually. I've not heard anything on Sancho. CJ Armstrong using Ollie's at the wheel emoji. I think that's the king of the emojis that we've created so far. But we have got more. Jurassic Park's coming tomorrow. God, that gin's going down well, isn't it? A bit like Cardiff. I've got to just say, that was even though don't laugh at your own jokes, but that was a good one. Fair play. I've got to say, look, I don't mind doing off-topical things for a moment, but did anyone watch the Cardiff-Chelsea game today? Because it's relevant for us in relation to the top 4. And I was like, if Chelsea draw at Cardiff, that's 2 points dropped. That's a great result for us. And that's what pissed me off today about that game. I felt sorry for Cardiff a little bit, although I think Neil Warnock's a bit of a plonker. I do feel sorry for Cardiff. I mean, tragedy what happened with the Salah. The striker, the Argentinian striker with the plane crash. And then, on a far lesser level, because that's a loss of human life. But today, with about 7 or 8 minutes to go, they're going to get 3 points that keeps them well in the relegation battle. And they end up losing all 3 points. Way offside, Aspilicueta's equaliser. And then just after that, Rudiger should have been sent off. The goal gets given, Rudiger doesn't get sent off, and then Chelsea go and win it. I mean, look, in fairness to Chelsea, I must just say, you can't knock Chelsea. Luck is luck. We were lucky yesterday. But that standard of refereeing is terrible. And people say, wow, it won't happen next year because of VAR. Screw VAR. I mean, at the end of the day, if a human being cannot see that 2 players are miles offside, that's not about VAR. I think people saying, oh, next season VAR will help that out. Well, yeah, but VAR shouldn't have even been mentioned. They are miles offside. That is ineptitude by the referee and the linesman. I mean, that is like, I could be on the halfway line watching pub football and know that they were offside. It's about having a football brain. It's about instinct. And when somebody's offside. They were miles offside. I mean, I wouldn't want to say they were corrupt. Just absolutely inept. And I'd rather be corrupt than that inept, to be honest with you. They were miles offside and it never should have happened. But it annoyed me a little bit because it's the race for top 4. What if Chelsea get 4th and we get 5th by 2 points? That's on that. And people say, well, it evens itself out of the season. Yeah, it does in a way, but that shouldn't be evening itself out. That is just ineptitude. And Cardiff were obviously he was 2 yards offside, says CJ Armstrong, exactly. But I don't think that Chelsea will finish in the top 4 anyway, but absolutely miles off, as he said. But the Liverpool game was very, very interesting as well, just very quickly. I mean, the top 4 race is going to be ridiculous, isn't it? It's going to be ridiculous. Wolves, in 48 hours, we're playing Wolves. Very excited. We're going to do the preview tomorrow lunchtime at midday, so join me live for that. But we've got to win on Tuesday. I mean, what I would say about the Chelsea result and Arsenal, I'm sure, will win tomorrow night, is that how important it was to beat Watford yesterday. And I know we all want to play great football, but actually, I'd rather we played crap and won than played brilliant and drew yesterday. 3 points is what matters. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said it felt like some of the players were on holiday still. Kick up the arse, hairdryer treatment, the lot. I expect to see a different United against Wolves. We need to go there and win. I think we will, but we've got to, because this race for top 4 is on. And I know Spurs lost today against Liverpool, but Pochettino's a very, very good manager. I know we've got Ollie, but Pochettino was a very worthy candidate for the job. And I thought in the second half at Anfield, they did so well. They should have won it. But there's this Spurs just have this bottle element to them that maybe they won't make top four this year. But I think they're very much in the race. I think Spurs have got to go to City, where they'll probably lose as well. But then I think they'll win all their other games. So it's going to be very interesting with Spurs. On the Liverpool thing, I was on social media today and I could see people celebrating when Spurs equalised and they were going mad that Spurs didn't win it. I'm still of this opinion that I would rather Liverpool win the league than Man City win the quadruple, because quadruple beats treble. And, I don't want City to win that. So if it's a choice between Man City winning the quadruple and Liverpool winning the league, I want Liverpool to win the league. And I know people would say, as a United fan, you should never utter those words. You're right. But City quadruple, I don't want that. And the one thing is, look, whatever happens, City quadruple or Liverpool winning the league, it's going to be horrible for us as United fans. But I do think the positives from both are, if City win the quadruple or Liverpool win the league, we'll surely spend 300 million this summer. You cannot sit there as Manchester United, the most successful club in English football in relation to Premier League titles, and watch somebody do a quadruple or your biggest rival win the league and go, yeah, you're only having 100 million, make do with Matic. We'd have, the positive would be we'd have to spend money. But just ridiculous. You can't just ridiculous. A ridiculous day of football. But the most important thing for me is that United got the 3 points yesterday. Definitely. And I think we will be kingmakers. I said this before. Somebody just said there, City aren't going to drop any points. Well, I think they will drop points. And do you know where I think they're going to drop points? Old Trafford. We will be kingmakers. I think Liverpool will probably win all their games. And if we beat City or draw, Liverpool will win the league. So we will be kingmakers. I've been saying that for a while. Mark G says, I don't think City will win the quadruple. I think they'll get knocked out of the Champions League. I hope they do. I really do. I really hope they do. But we will see. Aquaz says, what does being a member entail? Let me just do that very, very quickly for you. So, we've opened up membership on the United Stand now. As you can see there, are you in the club? The way you can join, it's not available in every country, but it is in a lot. So, there should be a join button underneath me on the YouTube thing. If not, there's a link in the video description. That's how you join. What do you get if you do join? Well, you get a badge next to your name. You'll see some people in the live comments whose name is green, and on the right of the green, they've got the green badge. After month 1, you move up to the black badge. After month 2, you move to the bronze badge with the star, silver badge, gold badge, and then the creme de la creme is the 3-star Manchester United Stand FC badge there. But not only that, you also get access to our exclusive emojis, which I'm sure people can demonstrate for you in the live comments now. We've got Lube, we've got Lube Shaw, we've got the pink glove of De Gea, we've got the pink boots, we've got Ollie at the wheel, we've got Poppadom through catching a Poppadom with a bowling ball, which really I'd like to see. Let's have a shout out for Hugo Lloris, because he was like catching a bowling ball with a Poppadom today. That's his emoji. So you get access to exclusive emojis, of which we're uploading ones all the time. They work really well when doing the watch-alongs and things like that. But also, I must just show you this as well. Can I show you? Yes, I can. Queen in the North says, I had a nightmare that Liverpool won the league. You also, as a member, you get access to this sort of thing. So if you've ever been to the homepage, there's a community thing there. If you go to the community tab, as you can see, yesterday we did the poll for everybody. Who was your man of the match? Luke Shaw had 78% of the vote, which is no doubt there. And Phil Jones got very low votes, even though I think he did okay. But you also get access to members-only polls, like who is United's player of the season so far. Victor Lindelof got 56%, which I think was very, very clever voting, and I expect that from United Stand viewers, to be honest. And we're also doing a poll at the moment for members. Who would you rather win the league, Liverpool or Man City, but they win the quadruple? 50-50, which pretty much shows you how difficult it is for Manchester United fans in relation to that league title. So 3 strands to the membership, and we will also be releasing other things in relation to the membership. What I would say is, though, we will never be doing exclusive video membership, videos for memberships. That's always going to be on here. So the link is in the video description for that, or you can do it through the join page. How about Mauro Icardi dropped again and wants out? Giggs can send him around his bro's house for a coffee, says Chloe Jenkins. And Franco Riva says, I would take Liverpool over City any day. City is a fake football club with no history and fans. At least Liverpool has history and tradition. The issue is they're our biggest rival, aren't they? But I would like Icardi at Manchester United, going back to Chloe's point. I would like him at Manchester United. Hudson-Odoi would be a great signing. What do you think, Paul Farrell? I think Sarri's gone from Chelsea in the summer. So I think I'd like Kante. Some of you would like Hudson-Odoi, but Sarri's gone. He's a very good manager, Sarri. I watch Italian football. He's a very good manager. He's just a really weird appointment. At his age, to bring him into the Premier League, he doesn't really understand to use youth. He's resting people like Hazard away to Cardiff who are fighting for their lives. They got out of jail today, but he will leave. He will leave. Yeah, James, you might have some emojis, but you don't have exclusive United Stand emojis, so there you go. Ashton Mackay says that he is apparently the number one target for Manchester United, Hudson-Odoi. I don't think we can get him, to be honest with you. I don't think we can. And Philip Burton would, surely if we buy a right back, he will want to start all the time. With us still having Young, he's signed for a further year, and we have Delo. Yeah, Ashley Young signing for another year was a big mistake. We should have been getting rid of him to someone like West Ham at the end of the day. How many players do you think we will get this summer, says Rat Think Wilson? I think we're in for one of the most interesting transfer summers ever. I don't think that doesn't mean it's going to be the... Note how I say interesting. That doesn't mean it's going to be a good summer. I just think we're going to go into this summer not knowing. I think one day we could be on the Transfer Daily talking about Griezmann, the next day Bale, the next day Sancho, the next day Lozano, the next day Pepe, and that's just 1 week talking about right wingers and, centre backs. We don't know what we're going to do. There's so much uncertainty. We don't know how much we're going to spend. We've got a new manager and we don't know who he wants. We've got lots of competition because Real Madrid and others will be spending money. Of course they will. We don't know what positions we're going to strengthen in. I think when you had Mourinho, you sort of had an idea what was going to go on and you had an idea of his sort of player. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, what makes it so interesting is we don't know how much money the club are going to give him. It could be loads, it could be hardly any. We don't know who he wants to move on. It could be loads, it could be none. And also, we don't know what sort of manager he really is. We've seen how he wants to play, but we've never seen him sign a player. He's not signed a player yet. So we don't know what an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer player is. So it's going to be a fascinating summer. Absolutely fascinating. And I can't wait to see how it happens. But the first and foremost, we've got to do really, really well. We've got a new member. His name is Max226. Welcome, Max. Thanks for joining up as a United Stand member. I think if you do join up while we're live, you get a little member post as well. That's basically every Transfer Daily on this channel, says Grobart. Look, we don't actually, for anybody who doesn't understand Transfer Daily, when it runs on a transfer window, we don't actually just wake up in the morning and think, oh, let's talk about that. We actually do look around what's going on in the news. I think some people don't really understand the concept of a fan channel talking about transfers. There would be no point me waking up in the morning and thinking, oh, the right back from from Young Boys is really good. Let's do a video on him, because that's just my thought on it. When we do Transfer Daily, it's a roundup of all the latest news. It's like when I talk about Zaha. I don't think that's going to happen, but we're fans, aren't we? So we have an opinion on it. So less of the sarcasm. Swap and cash Icardi / Darmian, says Chloe Jenkins. Yeah, so we'll give they'll give us £2 for Darmian, and we'll give them 999,099. I can't even do the maths. Welcome Mohammed Ashin Ijaz as a new member of the channel. Thanks, pal. Who are your top 4 or 5 summer transfers if you had £300 million budget, says Juzo Salo. For me, I would go... how much money am I getting? 300 million. So 300 million, I would spend... I think 80 will get Koulibaly. Welcome Jeff Doherty, our newest member. I would go 80 million Koulibaly. I would go 80 million Sancho, so that's 160 million. I would go Verratti, 80 million, 240. That leaves me 60 million, and that would get I'd probably go and get a right back. Yeah. So, yeah, you could get Wan-Bissaka for that. So, 300 million, Wan-Bissaka, Verratti, Sancho and Koulibaly. Back of their net. We're winning the league. We're drinking gin. There we go. Quasi says he'd go Ndombele, Wan-Bissaka, Koulibaly and Sancho. Yeah, I can't argue with that. If Pogba wants to go, let him go, says August Tuck. Wrong video, but I don't agree. I don't disagree with you. Do you play FPL? Says Tony Martial. Fantasy Premier League. I used to play it. Haven't played it for a long time. The De Gea situation is interesting, Milan Shuguranovic. I think it's about money with De Gea. I really do. I think it's about money, and we need to spend money. That's what we need to do. Richard Briscoe. How you doing, pal? Lube Shaw. I love that. I tell you what, I deserve a high five. If you're looking at the live comments, just look at Richard Briscoe's emoji, which is a tube of lube above the name Shaw. Lube Shaw. It was born yesterday. Ollie's at the wheel, says Anita Chowdhury. Please do smash a like on the video if you're watching. Let's see if we can get 1,000 likes while we're live. It's Sunday Night Live. Just to let you know what's going to happen tomorrow as well, while I remember. Preview will be at lunchtime because we're playing on Tuesday. So I'm going to do the preview at midday live. And then tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, I've got Sophie on the show. She's not been on for a while, so Sophie's on the show tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. And we might be taking some of your calls as well. Rojo was playing a few minutes. What do you think about that? Says Maxi Diva. I think Rojo for me has got to leave United. I don't see what he offers us. I really don't. I'd rather City win the league, says Young Driver. I always thought there was something else I wanted to talk about. Yes, there is. Bloody hell. I wish I'd brought this in sooner. What a prat. So Jose Mourinho has been linked with the PSG job, which I think still think it's unlikely because I think Tuchel will stay there for another season. Although ultimately I think Tuchel will be sacked by PSG. But Mourinho worries me a little bit because if Mourinho goes to a club that's got money, I said this a few weeks ago, I think he will try and screw us over because he knows the players. He will know the players we're looking at because transfer deals take months and months. And there'll be players that we're looking at in the summer that Mourinho knows we're looking at. So if he was to go to PSG and he knows we're after Koulibaly, I think he'd go for Koulibaly. If he knows we're after Sancho, he'd go after Sancho. So I hope Mourinho doesn't end up at PSG for the same reason I didn't want him to go to Real Madrid because I reckon he knows our targets and he'll try and scupper them. And Real Madrid have got the money to do it and PSG have got the money to it. I think if he goes to Inter Milan, it's unlikely. But I just wanted to bring that in as well. He's also been linked with Bayern Munich, who, to be honest with you, they've already spent quite a lot of money already on Hernandez, haven't they, from Atletico Madrid? So they don't have massive money. So if he went to Bayern Munich, I don't think he could really stop us, although they do have money. Imagine Neymar with Mourinho, that would be quality, says Jack Coleman. I think Neymar would be gone. I mean, this is one of the big reasons I don't think that Paul Pogba will go to Real Madrid because I think that actually Mbappe or maybe even Neymar might go to Real Madrid. I think Hazard's definitely going to go to Real Madrid. And have they got the money to go and spend on Hazard and Pogba? I don't think that they have. Welcome to Mr. DT's credit card, newest member of the channel. Can you talk about Declan Rice and the 40 million bid for him, says iJohn13. There's something about Declan Rice that just doesn't excite me. I think there's a lot of excitement around Declan Rice because he's played for England in the last week. He's a young player. He's young and English. I don't think he's ready for Manchester United. And I wouldn't be excited by a signing like that because if we sign Declan Rice as our midfielder this summer, is he ready to go into a team and win a title? No, he's a development player, which is fine. But I think that midfield is crying out for some experience. Verratti's the one I want. If you're watching my career mode on That's Football, Manchester United FIFA career mode, I would love us to get Verratti. I think he'd be absolutely perfect. I think we will get third this season in the Premier League and I think we will get knocked out of the quarterfinals of the Champions League, says Sylvester. look, I don't want us to get knocked out of the Champions League, but if you're offering me third in the Premier League, I'll be very happy. I just want to be in the Champions League next year. I think we've got a good chance against Barcelona, but we've got to get third. And we've got to beat Wolves. I said this in the international break. Step one, beat Watford and Wolves. We beat Watford, fortuitously maybe, but we have. Let's move on and now beat Wolves, and then that's a very, very good start. Welcome, Ronald McDonald, the newest member of the United Stands membership club. Get on your emojis and all that jazz. I don't mind. Verratti is our dream signing, says Jake Lovett. Well, the interesting thing about Verratti is there's this rumour that Rayola's flying in to speak with Ed Woodward because Pogba wants to go to Madrid. Well, as I said on my rant at lunchtime about that, they're going to have to pay big money because Pogba's effectively got 3 years left on his contract. But Mino Raiola is also the agent for Verratti. So it's going to be interesting whether we can keep Mino Raiola happy, because if we do keep him happy, then maybe Verratti could come. I think it'd be very, very good. News on director of football Tony Martial. Nothing. I don't really know. There's a lot of conjecture and rumour about it, but we don't really know at the moment what's going to happen with that. Rabiot is still an option. Hoshan White. We'll have to wait and see. What legacy does PSG have, says Leslie Lyle. Verratti is injury prone, says Alex R7. I did see the F1, Wazza Gaming HD. I love it. I love Formula 1, but that's not for you. And Madrid can sod off, says Tony Martial. But yeah, really, really interesting what's going to happen with Manchester United. And you know what? I was looking at the fixtures just before I went live, and we play Wolves on Tuesday. Then we've got 8 days till the Barcelona game. But then, after that Barcelona game, it's like a game every 3 days. And they're all massive. Absolutely massive. We've got 2 new members. We've got Ronald McDonald and Haytham Conlon. Welcome to the membership club. A few people still asking about this. So you can join the United Stand member club. There's a join button underneath the video. Or you can do it through the link in the video description. You'll get a green name and a green United Stand badge for the first month, and then you move through the badges, not that one, like that, so you can get black, bronze, silver, gold, and the United Stand FC badge, depending how long you've been doing it. You also get access to our exclusive emojis, of which we're going to load up more and more and more. And you get the community page, which is on the homepage, where there are polls and things like that. And we've got some other things planned for you as well. Right. Massive week ahead for us on the United Stand. I'll be live at midday tomorrow with a preview. Of course, 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Tuesday night, the watch along. We've got to beat Wolves. And please do smash the like on the video and subscribe if you are new. But thanks everyone for watching. Very, very satisfying 3 points for Manchester United, but 1 point separating 6th and 3rd. I think we know it's going to be a very, very, very interesting month ahead. I'm just very excited about Manchester United at the moment. And I think we'll see a response against Wolves, but I'll talk about that on the preview tomorrow lunchtime. And thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you all soon. If you want to become a member of the United Stand, join below. Thanks for watching.